A new abuse issue has developed in this country that is of great concern: the intentional misuse by teens of prescription and over-the-counter medications. Prescription over-the-counter drugs, known as RxOTC, are a real danger to teens. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, prescription drugs can be as dangerous, addictive, and deadly as the street drugs we're all familiar with, like cocaine, crack, and heroin. There's a reason why pharmaceutical companies put all those warning labels on drug bottles, and when they're ignored, the user puts themselves at great risk. RxOTC abuse is a widespread problem. The federal government's research shows that every day, 2,500 teens abuse a prescription drug for the first time. Another way to look at the prevalence of prescription and over-the-counter drug abuse is by comparing it to other drugs of abuse. You've seen this chart before, but if you look closely, prescription drugs now fall third after marijuana and inhalants as a category of substance abuse. More kids are abusing prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs than cocaine, meth, and heroin combined. And most worrisome, RxOTC represents a new stepping stone to the so-called harder drugs in drug use progression. A common question parents ask is, how do kids get these drugs? Very few teens say that they are buying prescription or over-the-counter drugs online. Most of them get them from friends or from the medicine cabinet in their home. These are the two most common ways. So what prescription over-the-counter drugs are being abused? We've talked about the prevalence of RxOTC drug abuse. What effect are they having on teens? Unintentional drug poisoning is now the second leading cause of accidental death in the United States, after car crashes. Emergency room visits related to RxOTC abuse are almost equal to ER visits due to all street drugs. And Rx drugs are now the most commonly abused drugs among 12 and 13-year-olds. As we saw earlier in the presentation, if social disapproval of the use of a drug is low, use goes up. We are concerned that medicine use has become normalized. In other words, no big deal among American teens. Partnership studies show that 1 in 3 teens report having a close friend who abuses Rx pain relievers to get high, and 1 in 5 report abusing an Rx medicine. We also saw that when perception of risk is low and availability is high, use goes up. That's also happening with RxOTC. Teens misperceive that abusing medicine is not dangerous, that it's safer than street drugs. And ease of access via medicine cabinets at home or friends' houses, your own or other person's prescriptions. What shapes teens' perception of safety? They see it as being sanitized, created in a medical laboratory for healing purposes, sanctioned, accepted by society as a positive and safe because it is certified by the FDA. So, what do parents think? Street drugs are generally considered more dangerous. Parents are less familiar with pills. They often have no frame of reference since these types of drugs of abuse didn't exist in their youth. And there's a lack of urgency around RxOTC. You've heard the stat. Research shows that teens who learn about the risks of drugs from their parents are up to 50% less likely to use drugs. But parents are not talking to their kids about RxOTC. While only 20% of teens say that their parents have never talked with them about alcohol or illicit drugs, over half say that their parents have never talked with them specifically about prescription and over-the-counter drug abuse. So, what can we as parents do? First, learn about medications kids are abusing. Attending this presentation is a great start, but there's more to learn at www.drugfree.org. Talk to your kids about these risks. When kids learn about these risks from you, their parent or caring adult, it does make a difference. Safeguard medications. If there's a substance that can be abused in your home, you need to keep it in a place where kids can't access it easily. Even if you think that your kids would never abuse them, you need to think about all the kids who come into your home. You also want to talk with your friends and your kids' friends' parents and ask them to do the same. Also, keep track of your medications. If you find that you are having to refill your prescriptions more frequently than expected, that is something to be concerned about. Finally, dispose of medications properly. Some, but not all, pharmacies have take-back programs. If yours doesn't, follow these steps. Unbelievable though it may seem, teenagers will retrieve discarded prescription drugs from the trash. To help prevent this from happening, crush your medication, mix it with an undesirable substance, such as used coffee grounds or kitty litter, and put the mixture into an empty can or bag and discard. Thank you for your time. For more information, feel free to visit www.drugfree.org or call ACT Missouri toll-free at 877-669-2280.